What would you say is the most effective way of making $1 million?
I mean, it depends on your skill set and the timeline. Because if you want to do it effectively over 30 years, it's going to be a lot less hassle, a lot easier than trying to do it in 5 years. One of my most viral clips on social media, I was talking to a kid. He called into the Ramsey show. He's 19. He said, hey, how do I turn $100,000 into $1 million by the time I'm 26 or 25? I said, why are you trying to make 900 grand on your money in 5 or 6 years? And he said, I don't know. It's just a question. There was no real theory behind it, no real goal behind it. It was out of fear. He just said, I need money now while I'm young because I'm scared I'm going to end up like my parents or retire broke or do something I hate. So I think when it comes to that question, you've got to look at your motive behind it and the urgency behind it. And so for me, the way I actually did it, it took 9 years. I invested in my company 401k, 15%. I was debt-free with an emergency fund. Beyond that, I got a reasonable house, small mortgage, paid it off aggressively. That house appreciated in value, rolled that into the next house, kept investing 15%. And that's all I've done. And over time, the home value that's completely paid for, 100% equity, plus the investment accounts, that equaled $1 million. And that took 9 years. So the most effective way is investing 15% of your income and getting a house and paying it off. Those two things combined are all you need to have a net worth of $1 million. Now, if you're wanting a cash millionaire, meaning you have $1 million in cash, well, your savings rate is going to be more important than the return if you're trying to do it in a short amount of time. Because the chances are the market's not going to give you 500%. The chances are you didn't get in Bitcoin 10 years ago and now it's 1,000x. And so I would say take as much of your income as you can, live on as little as you can, and throw the rest into the market, into an index fund outside of retirement, if that's your goal, to have it in the next 5 or 10 years. Because basic math says you save 100 grand a year, in 10 years you'll have $1 million. Even if you didn't invest it, just in a checking account. And so if I can then invest that money, I might be able to put 500,000 in, and it can grow to $1 million over a period of time. So the most effective way to me for the everyman is investing into the market, into mutual funds and index funds. That's the better way to do it with your own income. I don't know of a cooler way.
OnlyFans.
That's one way. I don't know if you've seen what I got going on. Not cut out for it. I'm much more cut out to give financial advice on YouTube. How about you guys? Do you have any other strategies that you're gatekeeping?
Effective way would be, I mean, it's I don't want to say guaranteed, but it's a hard thing to fail when you're just saving up money and investing it into an index fund. So I would say that's probably the most effective way. Although that's not the way that I would tell my friends. The way I would tell my friends would just be continue to work on your skill set to earn more money.
Yeah.
Because, although, yeah, sure, you can end up making $1 million the former way, it would end up taking a while. So I would just say, yeah, build up your skill set, try to earn a lot of money, and then invest the money, and hopefully that grows as well. Buy assets, not liabilities, and then you'll end up being worth $1 million.
Yeah. Personally, I think online sales, because it's scalable. And anything with sales, you could get good at it. Like, you don't have to be naturally great at sales.
Are you saying like start a store, like a Shopify, or are you saying be in a sales job?
I think a sales job is really important. But if you could merge sales with something that's online.
Sales and marketing?
Sales and marketing, something like that.
So figure out what a product a lot of people want is and get really good at selling it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a great way. Again, that's a skill set I don't have to go sell something on Amazon and sell a bajillion of it and make the spread. That's not in my wheelhouse. Not something I'm even interested in doing. What's interesting about the question, though, I love to ask this. This is my new favorite question to ask anybody who has a financial goal. I say, and then what? You make $1 million, and then what? Is your life magically better? Do you retire on a beach? What is the purpose behind this? I love asking that because it gets to the heart of that person and what they're really after. Because I can usually change their entire goal based on what their motive is. I can usually go, oh, you just need a job you don't hate. You don't need $1 million in 6 years. You just need to not have a toxic leader and to do something you're passionate about that you're good at and have someone recognize that and make 50 grand a year.
That's a great way to put it.
So I
like that a lot.
Have you guys ever thought about like you get to a financial goal and then you're like, okay, what's the next thing? Because you guys are very goal-oriented people. You've achieved a lot of success in a short amount of time. A lot of people look up to you. Have you ever thought, like, what is the point of all of this? Is it to get to the next million? Is it so that I can become a real estate mogul? Is it so that I can retire at 35 what is the point? Have you guys set those goals for yourself?
I try to think about it every now and then, but I also like having goals, even if it's just for the sake of checking something off the box. Sometimes I like that. Like I'll even go through and make a list on a Saturday of things I could do around the house, clean the windows, and just did that.
You like
Clean
being
out the cat's
productive.
litter box. Check that off.
How
like
does Graham Stephan relax? What does that look like?
Being productive.
So
Really, that's my way of. You know what? I had so much fun the other day. I painted the closet. So
Wow.
we
something no one will ever see.
In 4 years, we've not built out our closets. So when you get like a new construction house, they give you the builder special, which is just a rod that goes in the closet. That's it. That's all we had for 4 years. Is just a rod. And I told Macy after we got married that I'd build out the closets. 4 years later, I kept my promise. We built out the closets. But when they ripped it out, they say, "Oh no, we don't touch up that, all the paint and everything that was just ripped off." So I went to Home Depot and I got paint and I color matched it.
Wow.
I got some spackle to like fill up the holes. I spent like 3 hours painting the closet.
And it felt great, I bet.
I loved it. I put on music and
Can you tell us what music? I think that's an important part of the story. Who?
Danny Elfman.
Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
Wow. You're a soundtrack guy.
Yeah, love it.
I love that about you. So that's an interesting point. There's a quote that really stuck with me that made me question everything because I can't help but be productive and helpful. And it's from my friend Ian Simpkins. And he said, if busyness is your drug, then rest will feel like stress.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I'm bad at resting because it stresses me out to just be.
Yes.
And I feel like that's my next life goal is to figure out how to just be. And now that I have a 1-year-old, it's really hard to just be present and not feel like I need to be doing something more. I need to be more helpful. I'm going to check my phone. To just be in the moment is so difficult for me. And I realize that's why I don't enjoy a lot of things anymore. Because in the moment of enjoyment, I'm just going, I should be doing something more productive, or I'm overthinking the moment, or I'm watching a movie and I'm wondering how much money did it take to pull off that scene, and what did the actor? I can't just be. Have you guys struggled with this, or is it just me? Am I going crazy?
I used to a lot. And this is interesting. But I had a friend. I still have him. He's still my friend. But he was so happy and positive and like optimistic all of the time. And I always like observed this like subconscious, I guess, like aura that he had around him. And then finally, after observing this for such a long time, I asked him like, hey, why are you so like positive all of the time and happy and outgoing and just like how do you do it? And it doesn't seem fake. Like it seems real. And he said, well, to be honest, like I just read a book that helped me change my perspective, change my mental framework. And he told it to me, and it's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I read the book and it helped me learn how to be present. The idea of the power of now is to not focus on the future or the past, but to be able to live in the present moment because the past doesn't exist anymore, right? And the future doesn't exist yet because you really don't know what's going to happen. The only thing that truly exists is the second that we're in right now. And this book kind of like reiterates that and reinforces that framework, which helped me enjoy the present moment. And I guess not stress myself out so much with things that don't exist, like the past and the future.
Wow. You should hand that book to our friend Graham, and
I've read it.
I'll take it next.
You should read The Power of Now.
Okay, I'm next then.
I've read it. It just didn't help me.
Didn't hit.
Very, very, very far on the other side. But also, I think that realistically, Graham wouldn't take that book as seriously as I would have liked him to.
Yeah.
Like for me, when he told me about this book, like this is something I had observed over the course of several months and I was so interested in that finally when he gave me the reveal, I was like, okay, well I better like really listen to this book. And although it was a little bit whimsical and woo-woo, like every paragraph, if I didn't understand it, I would reread because I really wanted to try to be
really
like him
connected with it.
in that aspect.
Part of that I think is you have to have a pain point that is painful enough that you're like, all right, I want to explore this. I want to overcome this.
Mm-hmm.
And for Graham, that pain point isn't really there. It's not
really
a problem. So same with, if you read my book, Breaking Free from Broke, and you don't feel like you can do any better financially, you don't feel like you have any financial problems, then you're going to read the book and go, that was fine. Good little witty, some financial advice in there. It's cool. Mm-hmm. But if you are hungry for the material and you're going, I'm tired of living this way. I want it to be simpler. I want a more peaceful path to build wealth. I don't want to be a part of this system. This book is going to be like manna from heaven. And so that's what I think the difference is when it comes to pain points. It's why people call into the show and they want to justify their own decisions, and we don't give them the benefit. And so we hang up and go, well, we didn't help that person because they didn't really want our help. They wanted us to go, you're doing great. Just keep doing what you're doing. Do nothing different. But when people are hungry for the advice and they're really in a point of pain, they are willing to go sell the car the next day. They're willing to make those sacrifices. And I think that's true with anything in life that you want to grow in.